All right, recording again. To draw an object here. So this is like how to draw a circular figure, like a circular form. In perspective, which can be useful if you're trying to draw a table with a circular top, for example. I can do this in 1 point perspective. So if you've got like, let's just say I have even like something simple, like a cushion. This sitting on the floor. This is just a big block, but I want to make it, like I want it to have an elliptical shape rather than the rectangular shape to the top. I could just, freehand and curve and try to make it look right, but if you lose control of it, you come back to this where like you don't have to guess. You can just say, I'm going to find the middle, which is there. Draw to the vanishing point. So what you can see is like drawing from the vanishing point through that center will give you it'll break these in half in perspective, the edge here and the edge here, and then a horizontal through the center like that. So you get like the midpoint of all four sides. And then you make your curve come around, and the curve only hits the that outer edge in the center. It's actually going to make this look a lot smaller. Like that. Then you kind of have to look and see. And look, you're freehanding your curve, so then you have to just keep looking at your curve and see that it looks right. Yeah, so I'm drawing with a soft pencil. It's kind of making that a little bit mushy and indistinct there. But like the way that works, if you if I just draw this as just a flat rectangle, so this is just like more like doing just simple geometry, and so we're not doing perspective here yet. We're right with this demonstration. It would work, if you're drawing something in plan view, then you might just use a circle template. But this is just to show you how this works. So vertical, horizontal through the center, you find the midpoint of the square, and then you draw the circle inside that square, and you just have it glance off the edge only in the center. That's why you want to find the center of each of the four sides. Kind of like that. This is a little oblong. You can see where hard to control it completely freehand, but yeah. So, and there are these diagonals that come out of the center, and the curve crosses the diagonal close to 3/4 of the way out from the middle. from the center to the corner. I don't think it's quite 3/4, but it's just short of 3/4. Pretty close. But I usually shoot, if I want to just like put it like, put a diagonal here and say this is half. That's close to 3/4. But so like here's how you can do that. Divide it up so that you can find the center of each of the sides without needing to measure it with a ruler. Because in perspective, you can't measure it with a ruler. That's why you draw it as a rectangular form first, then break down that surface that you're going to draw, like a circle in perspective or at this oblique angle. You use that division of the rectangle. You first draw the rectangular surface, and then you divide it up, and then you draw your circle. It helps to keep it in perspective. And if I just draw, I'm just like drawing like a, like an approximate ellipse here. This may or may not be correct for like the height of the object. This should be pretty flat. I mean, my initial drawing of it, I made this a little bit more like a little dome. Like this curves more than this. And actually, the lower in your view, the lower in the drawing, which is the closer it comes to the viewer, the more it would curve, not less. So this just like me just sketching that out, I drew that incorrectly. So being able to break it down like that is very helpful. And when you're drawing curves, good. Sharpen the pencil. If you have something like a start with I know what I want to draw. So we'll draw a sofa. Just in general, like, I could draw approximate a sofa. Say something like it's got there. So this is like the frame, like the structure of the frame of it here. Seat. might start, like the seat cushion might be like here. See this. So I'd like choose a height to be the height of the seat cushion. And I'm going to create this kind of like a space inside. This has no back cushions. I'm going to have to add them. I think if I do, it's actually good because the seat's too deep otherwise. So if I draw this like it's this sort of like this like cavity where you like the sort of space where you sit. I don't have back cushions on there, but I'm just going to draw like here, like push the edge in, that, and then I think realistically you might like just move it, like push it up so that it sticks up a little bit in here. I do want to give that a bit of an edge, so just there. If I want to find the middle of these, like part of these, the seat and the back are obscured by the arm here, but I can still do this by drawing through the arm as if this is all transparent. And just draw this plane. And then cross diagonal. Find that the center is about there, and so this is split. There you go. So this can be helpful, like if you've got this, like the arm comes up and obscures a part of that surface, but you can just draw it as if you can see through the arm, and then once you're done, you can just remove that. I can even like show you like dotted line where the side of the back cushion would be. And some sofas, like big chunky sofas, they might have like a little tiny foot underneath it, but some of them are just meant to just kind of like sit like they're almost like they're hovering over the floor. If they've got like a foot inset like that. But also, I think if you like soften the edges a little bit, it'll make it look more realistic. It have to be it really depends on the style of the sofa. See, structure for the cushion to sit on. I just can't take out everything underneath the cushion because then the cushion's got nothing supporting it. But like here, like the depth here, like the distance between these two edges should be greater on the front than on the back, because as the distance increases, this surface will look wider, this surface will look more narrow. That you're going to just approximate it. Shade it there. There. See that. I mean, there are sofas that are designed like this. They're kind of like just this like structure, upholstered structure that wraps around the back cushions, and then the seat cushions sit inside it. Um, this might not be out back. This might not be sticking out so far. Here, a little bit. So there. Good. Yeah. So drawing these initial objects is meant to help you be able to do some of this stuff right here, and hopefully it does. Okay. But it helps with the appearance of this being three-dimensional if I create contrast with this surface it's sitting on. That is, you know, you can draw the furniture without doing that, but this is just like a little extra right now. Eventually that's something that you will have to do in drawings in this class, and also in design when you specify furniture and like on a certain like upholstery fabric and a color to it. Um, unless you're doing like on like achromatic, like everything is white on white on white, you're going to have to think about the contrast between the upholstery and the wall, the upholstery and the flooring, because you want to make sure that things. It's almost like you're creating clarity by making sure that there's contrast, and contrast is something you do want to think about. So. So there. Now, if you, yeah, so you can look up different, so like, different furniture types. Um, I don't care what you use. You can do tape, like, um, you could draw two different chairs. You could draw a chair and a sofa. You could draw a sofa and a table. You don't have to choose a chair. That's not necessary. I mean, really, you think about um, the kinds of things that you would be drawing in an interior, then there's just about there's kind of no limit to the thing. Anything that is found in an interior, you can draw it. Some things might be a little bit more complicated. Um, if you're thinking about drawing something like you could do like a wall sconce, but if it's a wall sconce that doesn't have a lot of straight or parallel edges, then it would be hard for you to demonstrate how you draw it accurately in perspective. And that's something I want you to choose things that will allow you to apply basic linear perspective.
For this assignment, should we be drawing, so it's 3 drawings of each like furniture, and we're picking 2, right? And then should each of them be on a separate page? Should they all be on one page or what?
If you can keep, if you're working on the larger pad of paper,
Mm-hmm.
then I would like it if you keep all 3 views on the same sheet.
Okay, but
But if
so would that mean that like I could have 2 sheets, one for each
correct,
piece I choose? Okay.
yes. And if you
Oh,
find that putting 3 views of a chair on one sheet of paper just forces you to compress it too much, you can
mm-hmm.
you can do 2.
Okay.
You can just say I have 2 views on this, two 1-point perspective views here, and then one 1-point perspective view on a second page, and that's the set.
So can I do 2 1-point and then one 2-point, or should it be 2 2-point perspectives and
As long
one
as you
1-point?
use both, I don't care if
Okay.
it's 2 1-point or two 2-point.
Okay, sounds good.
Yes. This is something like in class next week we're going to practice because you will you will find that it is challenging to figure out the perspective of some object. Like you choose it because I think like this looks pretty good. I like it. Doesn't look too complicated, and then you go to draw it, and then you find out what it's going to take to draw that object. Especially if you're new to this, it's hard for you to predict the challenges, and that's good. You should just, I do suggest you try something that's relatively simple, um, as one of them, but even simple objects like when you get down to details, you find that you do have to concentrate and figure things out sometimes.
So the 3 pieces of furniture that they're not due by next class, we're going to work on them in next class. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yep. We're going to work on. So next week is going to be super fun perspective drawing furniture day, and you will draw more furniture objects in perspective than you will turn in because you're going to be practicing. And then the week after, the 4th week of the semester, I'm going to introduce marker rendering with gray markers and colored pencil. And so you're going to be putting, you'll be putting shadow and color onto them with markers and pencils. So that'll be fun.
So how many pieces or how many pictures should we be bringing then next week?
I would say if you have 2 or 3 different furniture objects you'd like to try, that would be very helpful. You can look some things up in class, but if you look at let's see if you can help me. Somebody tell me something you'd like to draw. Like what kind of a piece of furniture you'd like to use for this assignment.
A table.
Great. So a table there are lots of different types of tables, and so you look up a table that is that is made by a specific furniture company, or it could be something like a historical object, like an old Renaissance era trestle table, or it could be like shaker furniture. Shaker furniture is pretty simple because that was kind of the point of the whole way of life with the that religious group called the Shakers, that it is that excessive ornament, flashy carving or anything like that, it is not necessary. It is more than anything, it can be an expression of pride, and that humility was very important to them. So Shaker furniture is quite simple, and you might look up that. What you can find modern things that are made called Shaker that is a kind of like an imitation of the simplicity of Shaker furniture, but there are no more Shaker communities left because they didn't believe in marriage or having children, so they just kind of faded out. But their stuff that they did in the 19th century into the early 20th century was really beautiful stuff. You can look up a table like a mid-century modern, like something that one of something Florence Knoll might have designed for Knoll, or Eileen Gray designed furniture. I'd like it for you to take the opportunity to learn something about furniture, either from a historical for like historical furniture, or something contemporary that's being made by like something that you might actually order for a client. So IKEA makes furniture, but you might not use IKEA for a design client. So does that make sense to you?
Yes, makes sense to me.
Good. There are places where you can buy stuff inexpensively online, like Wayfair, but I'd rather you look for better sources that are a little nicer, just in terms of yeah, it's because if with Wayfair, it's who designed this? I don't know, nobody. It's just made somewhere. So that's you're studying interior design to do better than that. So if you look up something that you could do, if you're curious who's making I don't know any furniture designers. The Merchandise Mart, which is now just called the Mart in Chicago, has a website, and the Mart website has a list. You can find a list of all of the different showrooms, and you can find showrooms that sell furniture. Knoll has a showroom at the Mart. Find furniture companies that you maybe don't know about. There's it's in not too far from Harper. I think it's called Peretti and Sons, or Peretti is a family furniture company. So I'd like you to be able to choose something that is interesting to you, not too complicated, and also allows you to learn a little bit about the furniture piece itself. Okay.